Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a container truck driving out of Area 51, a well-known restricted area. The truck is being escorted by soldiers as it travels somewhere. The discussion between these soldiers reveals they have no idea what is inside the canisters they are transporting. Next, a newlywed couple is celebrating their first day of marriage. The woman starts playing with him, and since the man is too preoccupied with her activities, he doesn't see that the automobile he is driving has drifted out of its lane. As a result, the couple's car collides with the truck delivering the enigmatic container. The commander of the truck convoy receives a call from headquarters, ordering them to avoid the container. Nevertheless, before they can hear what the headquarters have to say, an unknown creature emerges from the container. The enigmatic monster is revealed to be a zombie, and he begins attacking the soldiers present. Following the tragedy, the zombies and infected soldiers plan to invade Las Vegas. In just one night, the city of Las Vegas, which has millions of residents, has been transformed into a city of zombies. Because of the zombie virus's rapid spread, the government's efforts to exterminate it are overwhelmed. The catastrophe eventually compels the authorities to create a container wall around the entire city of Las Vegas, trapping the zombies inside. A few months later, Scott Ward, a former soldier, learns that the president intends to strike the city with a low-explosive nuclear weapon. Mr. Tanaka, the proprietor of a casino, arrives at his store. He assigns Scott the task of collecting his $200 million from a casino building in the dead city of Las Vegas. Mr. Tanaka specifically directs Scott to organize a team to complete the assignment, and the team will receive $50 million from the money they bring. Inside the quarantine facility within the container wall, Gita, a woman, asks Scott's daughter, Kate, to watch after her children. Gita says she'd go inside the city of the dead to find the treasure left behind. She intends to enter the city of the dead with the assistance of a local, Lily, a border guard woman. Meanwhile, Scott has a flashback of his childhood, when he was forced to kill his own wife, because she had turned into a zombie. He ultimately accepts the mission that Mr. Tanaka had previously assigned him. Soon, he begins to assemble a team of people he knows, including Maria and Vander. These are former elite forces, and are offered a reward of $15 million each, including Scott himself. The remainder are Peters, a helicopter pilot, for $2 million, and Guzman, a zombie hunting YouTuber, for $500,000, Dieter, a safe-breaking hacker, with a $250,000 bounty. They instantly prepare their favorite weapons, which they will use to fight zombies. Guzman brings his pals Damon and Chambers to join the mission the next day. Mr. Tanaka continues to discuss his approach for the mission they are going to undertake. The goal is for them to burst past the border wall, and then through all of the zombies, until they reach the building where the safe is situated. Peters will then go to the rooftop to prepare the aircraft, once they have entered the building, while the others follow Dieter to the safe and retrieve all of the money. They'd all head to Peters' apartment with the money once everything is finished. They will also be escorted by one of Tanaka's men, who will keep an eye on them, to ensure that they do not steal all of the money. They have one day to fulfill the task, before the government detonates the nuclear weapons over the entire city of Las Vegas. Scott asks Kate to assist him in crossing the border. He promises her $15 million to pay for the children's education at the camp. In truth, she is a volunteer in the quarantine camp, and she may be unintentionally allowing people to enter the lifeless metropolis. They board the bus the next day, and begin their journey to the camp. As they arrive, they are greeted by Lily, who will transport them to Vegas. Kate suddenly notices that Gita, the person who has welcomed her to the city of the dead, has already left the camp. She becomes enraged, and punches Lily in the face. It turns out that Lily had no idea that Gita had a kid, which led to her enabling Gita to enter Los Angeles. As a result, Kate requests to accompany Scott on his search for Gita. Scott initially turns down her plea. He is obliged to allow his daughter to join the mission after Kate threatens to travel alone. Not only Kate, but Lily also requests that he add one more member, Bert, because she needs Bert's assistance inside the city. They then begin their task, entering zombie country. Just as they enter the city, they suddenly hear a huge roar approaching them, which turns out to be the roar of a zombie tiger. They are terrified at first, but it turns out that the tiger is just passing by, and has no intention of attacking them. During the event, Lily approaches Bert, and attempts to obtain his gun. Once Bert hands over his gun, Lily shoots him in the leg, explaining that they need to make sacrifices to the undead. Maria believes Lily has deceived them all. But according to Lily, she did so because if they don't make a sacrifice, they'd be dealing with alpha zombies, which are far smarter than regular zombies. Furthermore, Lily used Bert as a victim, because he frequently mistreated the women in the quarantine camp. After hearing this, The rest of the squad agree to make Bert a sacrifice, so they wouldn't be attacked by the alpha zombies as they pass through the city. Soon, the zombie queen and one of her bodyguards arrive, and take Bert away. Bert finds himself surrounded by alpha zombies as he arrives at the building. Until one of the zombie kings appears, and transforms him into an alpha zombie. They have to pass through a building after a lengthy journey, to get to the building they are going to. There are a number of zombies within who have been hibernating or sleeping for a long time. They have no choice but to pass through a horde of zombies, because there is no other route. Scott guides them through the undead, indicating a walker-friendly path. But Tanaka's man, Martin, throws away the light sticks on the way, forcing Chambers, who is following him, to walk in the opposite direction. Sadly, as she attempts to exit the zombie zone, she accidentally bumps into one of them, causing the zombies to awaken and seek her out. Chambers attempts to fight them to escape. Unfortunately, Martin shuts and locks the door, trapping Chambers among the mob. Guzman, who witnesses the zombie attack, inquires about Chambers' whereabouts. Martin states that he has no idea what had happened to her. She emerges from the window not long after. But, since she is besieged by zombies, she orders Guzman to go immediately. Guzman is also forced to shoot the gasoline carried by Chambers. As they arrive, Scott leads everyone to complete their assigned responsibilities, with Peters and Maria going to the building's rooftop to prepare the helicopter. Martin and Lily are in charge of maintaining order outside the premises. Vander, Dieter and Guzman are tasked with opening the safe, while Scott and Kate are tasked with starting the generator. They all immediately set off to complete their responsibilities. Lily and Martin, who are standing guard outside, unexpectedly summon the zombie queen, in order for Martin to capture her. When the zombie queen's bodyguard witnesses the encounter, he attempts to assault Martin. But in the end, Lily is able to shoot and defeat the zombie bodyguard. It turns out that Lily did this to assist Martin, who had earlier stated that he required the zombie queen's blood, to conduct research on it. Nevertheless, it appears that Martin lied to Lily, because his true goal is to capture the zombie queen's head, so they can construct an army of controlled living corpses. When Lily witnesses this, she tries to warn Martin that if the zombie king found the zombie queen's body, their previous pact would be null and void. Once Scott and Kate manage to turn on the generator, Peters and Maria rush to the rooftop, while Vander and the others go in search of the safe. After going to the safe house, the three of them are besieged by countless zombies, until they ultimately manage to clear the whole premises. After blowing up the gate, the three attempt to locate several zombies to use as bait, to set off all of the lethal traps. After successfully releasing the traps, Dieter begins to use his expertise to open the safe. Meanwhile, Peters appears to be having difficulty starting the helicopter, which is damaged in multiple places. Furthermore, as Peters is tinkering with the engine, the helicopter gets on fire. As they are watching the news, it is revealed that the president has changed the date of his bombing forward by 1 day. This scares them all, because they only have an hour and a half, before the city is blown up. Scott and the others go to the safe room after hearing the news, but their presence distracts Dieter, who is opening the safe, and he has to restart from the beginning. While they wait for Dieter to open the safe, they begin counting the money they found in the building, and divide it evenly among the remainder of the squad. After some time, Dieter is eventually able to open the safe's door. When they spot the big pile of money in the safe, they are all overjoyed. Scott then instructs Vander and the others to rapidly place the money in the bag, because they only have 1 hour. He also doesn't know that Kate has already left, and is searching for Gita on her own. The zombie king, on the other hand, finds the zombie queen's body, and returns it to their base. When the zombie king learns that the child of the zombie queen had died in her womb, he grows outraged, and orders his entire army to attack the building where Scott and the others are carrying out their duties. As Scott knows Kate has gone to see Gita, he intends to follow her. But just as they are about to enter the elevator, the zombies burst through the door, and murder Maria. Once Scott has defeated a handful of the zombies, they immediately look for a way out of that spot. However, Martin simply locks them all up and walks away. As they realize what is going on, they try to escape by punching holes in the wall with a chainsaw. However, when Vander and Dieter are exterminating zombies, the king of zombies appears and attacks. They attempt to shoot the zombie king in the head, but are unable to do so, due to his iron helmet. When the zombie king is about to eat Vander's hand, Dieter appears out of nowhere and attacks him, and sacrifices himself to save Vander by putting him inside the safe. Martin attempts to take the zombie queen's head as he is about to leave, but it turns out that Lily had earlier exchanged the zombie queen's head for a money counter. Not long after that, the undead tiger guarding outside attacks him unexpectedly. After Scott, Lily and Guzman emerge from the safe room, they intend to head straight to Peter's house. Nevertheless, Since the zombies are too close, they are forced to combat the zombies first. Guzman is bitten by one of the zombies, so he murders himself, detonating all of the grenades he has, allowing Scott and Lily to flee the monster's attacks. When the two of them arrive at the rooftop, they discover that the zombie king has caught up with them. Lily takes out the zombie queen's head to threaten the zombie king. She instructs Scott to board the chopper as soon as possible. The zombie king pierces Lily's body with his spear. Lily is subsequently forced to let go of the zombie queen's head, which falls from the buildings. Meanwhile, Kate is able to locate Gita, who is being held captive by the zombie king at his base. But just as they are about to flee, a zombie named Bert appears and bites one of them. After Kate kills the zombie Bert, the king of zombies appears with several of his troops, and attacks Kate and Gita. Kate and Gita fight the undead, till they ultimately defeat them all. And now only the undead king remains. Scott appears out of nowhere, and fires his grenade launcher just as the zombie king is going to strike them. When they arrive at the rooftop, they assume Peters has fled, but fortunately, Peters returns to save the three of them. They don't realize, however, that the zombie king is still alive, and he jumps into the chopper. Scott attempts to combat the zombies, but he is bitten several times before he is able to shoot the zombie king's head. A nuclear bomb then flashes across the sky. When the bomb detonates, the force of the explosion shakes the helicopter. They are involved in a catastrophic accident. As Kate wakes up, she discovers that Peters and Gita have died. Only Scott and Kate survive the crash. Since Scott had previously been bitten by the zombie king, Kate is obliged to shoot him in the head when he shows signs of becoming a zombie. After the nuclear explosion devastated the entire structure, it is discovered that Vander is still alive, and had managed to escape from the safe. He picks up a car after a lengthy walk, and plans to travel abroad, with multiple suitcases containing hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. Vander, who is on the plane, becomes dizzy, and tries to use the restroom. He then discovers he'd been bitten by the zombie king. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.